We're back out on the Bass Buggy, and today we're talking about my favorite fall baits to use through November and into the winter, and how I like to work them. Stick around, I think you'll like this one. Alright, we're back out here at the big lake. We are hoofing it from the bank right now, because you can see the Bass Buggy, she's over there, but she took a great big old crap on me. She's not firing, she's not running, so I gotta get her home and see what's going on with that. So I'm doing it from the bank right now. I'm hoping she's just flooded. When you're out on the water all day trying to get your boat to start and it's fighting you and you turn it over and you prime the bulb and you do everything and it won't start, make sure this guy right here is connected. That is the main fuel line. If you come back and you see it hanging off in your transom, it's usually a pretty good reason, pretty good indicator why your boat won't fire over. So, pro tip. Yes, I have chickens. As many of you have suspected in the past, I have chickens. All right, what happens when you give it fuel? That's what happens when you give it fuel. For some strange reason, it fires right up. Go figure. I fought this thing at the boat ramp this morning and fought it at the boat ramp. My geniusness didn't realize that primary fuel line down there was disconnected. Boy, what a smart guy I am. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And you know, as we move deeper into fall and into November and even into December, a lot of anglers have asked me just exactly what are my secrets to locating those elusive bass. And I've done the past couple of videos on it, and it's really not that hard. The things that I'm mainly looking for is hard structure that's been warmed by the sun, radiates into the water, that attracts the fish as the water gets cooler, and if I can find something that's got deep water access and current, then all the better. I'll link the previous videos in the description below, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. What happens when you do finally find those bass? What techniques am I using? What presentations am I throwing? It's really not complicated. I do a lot of the same things that I'm doing in the spring and even into the summer. The main difference is I'm just slowing things down. So what sorts of presentations am I using? What's really working for me? Well, obviously, a stick bait. You can't go wrong. It works 24/7, 365. On any list, you'll have a stick bait, no matter who's doing it. It's just common sense. Texas rig, either weightless or with a bullet weight, and you're good to go. Especially now as those water temperatures are getting colder, this is actually becoming more and more effective. This is something I always have tied on. A Texas rig stick bait has caught more bass for me than any other bait, probably combined. So you know I'm always going to have one tied on. Kind of let that work its way through. And I can feel every bit of grass, every bit of hydrilla, every single piece. I got him. Ooh, that's a nice one. That's a real nice one. Ooh, look at that boy. That's a really nice big thick bass. Probably close to 3. Nice and dark. This, gloss, smooth tongue, so that's a largemouth, which is what's in this lake. I'm definitely getting a picture with this guy. Alright, well, as I was saying, sometimes you just got to slow it down. Sometimes you just got to slow it down. Now another bait that's working exceptionally well for me, and has been for quite a while, good old soft jerkbait, or fluke. This is just a regular cream brand. I got these in the bargain box there at Walmart. I think I paid $1.25 for a 5-pack of them. And fish them the same way you would a stick bait, either with a bullet weight or weightless, and work them slowly along the bottom. I like to give it a few twitches and let it rise up to let it fall down. You want to mimic that dying bass. Give it a couple of pops, let it rise up, and then just let it flutter down. A fluke is a great presentation. It very closely mimics a dying shad, especially whenever you work it with a couple of pops and just let it rest. And I've caught quite a few fish working them. I suggest you try it. I think you'll like the results. Just slow things down a little bit. Oh yeah, there we are. There we go. There we go. There's another one working that fluke. There's another one working that fluke. That's a good one. Soft plastic jerkbait. Working it on the bottom. That's about a 3 pound, 3.5 pound. Somewhere in there. Feels nice. It's another one on the soft plastic jerkbait. That is a gorgeous fish. I want to make sure I actually have you in frame. There we go. We've got two. We're going to let you go. You are beautiful. I'm obviously getting a picture with you. Okie dokie. There you go, little buddy. That fish is probably close to 3 pounds. Maybe a little bit better than 3, 3.5. That's a nice fish. Thank you, buddy. And moving from a soft plastic jerkbait, well, we've got the good old hard plastic jerkbait. Now, I know I've been on these all year, but really, this has become a year-round bait for me. And you can see this bait right here has got marks, tooth marks, and has just been all torn up from all the fish that I've caught with it. Now into the fall, the only difference is how I'm fishing it. Whereas in the spring and in the summer, I'm ripping it, I'm pulling it, I'm working it really quick. Now I've slowed down with it. I'm just essentially bumping the slack out of the line and then letting it sit 3, 4, 5 seconds. And then I bump the slack out of the line and then go 3, 4, 5 seconds again. And I've been very successful with that as the water temperature cools down. And remember, colder temperatures are relative to your area. I'm in the deep south, so we're still in the 70s as far as water temperature goes. And for us, that's cool. You may be in the 60s, the 50s, or even the 40s. But I would still recommend working the hard plastic jerkbait in the same manner. Work it on a slack line, bump the slack out of it so that this hunts side to side, darts back and forth. This is a suspending jerkbait. A floating jerkbait also works just fine, like a Rapala minnow or a cotton cordell minnow or something of that nature. Works just fine. Give it a couple of bumps, let it float to the surface, and a couple of bumps. As we move further into the fall and even into winter, this will increasingly become a major player in my arsenal. Now, some guys are still fishing topwater, and I've been fishing a little bit of topwater too. Although the bite is beginning to die off just a little bit, I'm actually having a bit of success on this Heaton Super Spook Junior. I've been working it over structure, kind of slow, popping it back and forth, and then if I'm pulling across something, I'll even slow it down further, trying to hold it in that area. But I've had a bit of success. This one's got a few chew marks on it where I've caught fish with it. And here's a little tip for you. As you see here, I've actually got a couple of pieces of string, and I keep those tied on there. And the reason I do that is because it actually helps this bait walk. When I tie it onto it, direct line tie underneath it, it forces that line to stay down a little bit more, and I get a little bit better walking action out of it. This is something I've learned from a couple of the pros that I talk to, and that's what they do. I started doing it, and I get a lot more pop, a little bit more side-to-side walking action. I don't have to waste any motion in my cast. I don't have to get the bait started working in order to get the side-to-side. It automatically does it right out of the gate, and I really like that. Now last, but certainly not least, is one of my absolute favorite ways to fish, and that is flipping and pitching a jig. This is where I cut my teeth bass fishing years ago, was either dragging a Texas rig worm or flipping a jig. And right now is the best time of year to fish a jig in my area, especially long laydowns and hard cover. That's where I'm doing most of my damage and catching most of my fish. And I've been catching some really nice ones flipping a jig. I'm not fishing grass flats or milfoil or out in the middle of the lake. I'm fishing close to shore. Again, I'm looking for those sun-baked places of hard structure, laydowns, rock piles, anything man-made, concrete that's busted up, docks, whatever. They hold heat from the sun and fish gravitate toward them. And jigs are a great way to target them. Now, I fish them a couple of ways. Obviously, you see I have a chunk style trailer here. I've got some ethiolate dye on this. This is sort of my bluegill imitation, and I've been using this at the big lake, and it's been paying dividends. I've been flipping it in there, reeling it back, flipping it in, giving a couple of yo-yos, and reeling it back. I'm not really working it all the way to the boat. I'm flipping it out in the brush, give a couple of yo-yos, see if anything's there, and then I'm reeling back. I'm keeping that trolling motor on, and I'm going down the bank. I'm covering water, and I'm looking for fish. Now, when I find fish, then I'll turn the trolling motor off, and I'll work that area, possibly with a jig, possibly with a Texas rig, possibly with a wacky rig. It all depends on what the fish want and what they tell me they want. Now, I'm working this mainly in clear water. For more stained water, I'm working something like this. You can see this is just a regular Arky jig. There's nothing special about it. I've got a Rage Menace trailer, and if you notice, I have it rigged in line with the line tie. It's parallel. And that, again, to mimic more of a bait fish, a bluegill, a sunfish of some sort. And I find that doing that is extremely effective. Those paddle tails right there, those tails right there with those ridges will give me some kick. So in stained water, I want a little more vibration. I'm working it a little bit longer. And whereas in clear water, I'll toss it out, yo-yo it, and bring it back. This I'll let sit and soak for a little bit in one spot, see if I can draw some attention. So if you're fishing clear water, something like this, toss it out there, give it a couple of yo-yos, bring it back. So if you're working darker water, something that's got a little bit of stain, a little bit less visibility, then work this a little bit longer, let it soak a little bit, jerk it a few more times than you ordinarily would, see if you can get a little bit more of a reaction out of it. It's what I've been doing, and it's been working very well for me. As you can see from the fish that I caught just today, those were very nice fish, 3.5, even 4 pounds. And I'm catching those by slowing down. In the fall, you are going to have to slow down. So there you have it. There's some easy baits, some easy presentations that you can work nice and slow in the fall time of the year as that water temperature starts to cool. The bite actually does start to heat up. And as you start recognizing those places that the bass are hiding, you'll be able to put yourself on fish a lot more quickly. And with a slower presentation, a more finessey presentation, you'll be able to catch more fish. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.